Hello, welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Purge, Anarchy.
Just remember all the good the Purge does.
I still think the idea of The Purge is such a cool premise for a movie. It is that perfect mixture of being just horrifyingly enough realistic to really make you scared when you watch this type of premise. And it leaves you really thinking before you go into the film and especially after you leave the film. And those thoughts range. It's like, oh, how would I act in The Purge? Would I go out and participate? Would I stay home and play defense? Do I know anybody who would try to purge me on that day? Or maybe who would I try to purge? But the point is, it's such an interesting concept to play around with and explore that I think it's a great, fun, fresh concept for a film. So I really appreciate the idea behind both of the Purge movies. Unfortunately, neither of them execute quite properly to take full advantage of such a fun new idea. I am going to start this review off on the positives because I did enjoy this one more than I enjoyed the first one. I will say I thought Ethan Hawke as an actor carried that first film, and the acting cast was a little bit better in the first film, but overall I had a better time watching the Anarchy version of The Purge than I did the original. So what did it do well? Well, we leave the house. You are roaming Los Angeles, and I think it does a great service to this idea to get out of the house. We don't want a home invasion movie anymore. We want to see what actually happens on The Purge. We don't want just one family's tale. We want to see The Purge in action. And I think this second film did itself a great service by leaving the house. And I know part of that is that a lot of people were angry with the fact that we stayed in the house in the first one. So the director listened and took direction from the fans, which is always a very positive sign, for the second film, and took those ideas to try to improve and bring something to the fans that they really enjoyed more than the first film. But we also get a diversity of scenarios with this leaving of the household. So again, in the first, we kind of just saw a little bit of that social commentary, but also these people just wanted to kill. They didn't like you, they were jealous of you, whatever, but they just wanted to kill not only the homeless man that they chased into the house, but the family themselves. This one we get a wide range. So you see revenge, you see participating in the Purge in different ways to help your family, or you don't have money to pay for needs that you have. You're getting desperate, so you're thinking about participating in the Purge outside of just murder. Or we see more of rich people participating in the Purge as a social status type thing. We also see the government really start to play a role and have some sort of social commentary mixed in, a lot heavier in the second film than the first. So not only do they do the Purge so that everybody purges themselves of anger and hatred on this one day so that there's less crime, they also purge themselves of economic weight. So they do explore that a lot and show just how involved the government gets in implementing the Purge. And of course, there are scary moments throughout the film. I think it's just a fun ride. For the most part, it's nice to just kind of like sit along and go along with the film. But there are plenty of problems. The first and foremost is the same problem that I think plagued the first Purge, is that it's not really a horror movie. I think these are much more thriller action than they are straight horror. And I think that's, again, a big disservice to the actual franchise, that I don't think you're scared all that much outside of maybe jump scares. So yeah, I think this one definitely has a lot of moments of danger, and as we saw in the first one, the main guy dies, so they're not afraid to kill people in these Purge movies that you wouldn't expect. But I don't know, to me, it's not, I guess it is a little bit gory, so it does fall under horror. It just feels action, it's fighting, it's, you know, you're getting in it, and that's how I feel the movie is. Then again, I'm not really scared by scary movies almost at all, so maybe you find it more of a horror film than I do. The other thing is that while I think it is a fun premise and something to really play with, I don't think it's believable. Do I believe that the government may try something like this? Who knows with the government we have. We've seen them try plenty of crazy stuff, and it's not like we've been against mistreating people in the past. So I do believe that something like this may be off into the future. However, this film takes place in 2023. And why I think it is so unbelievable is that rich people in this film take such delight in buying and killing people for their pleasure and so on and so forth, that I just don't think that's realistic, that we would have such a social change and people would be so accustomed and so bloodthirsty in the span of the next 9 years. To me, that was just completely unbelievable. And if that is actually the nature of people, this world is in a much worse state than I had originally anticipated. But I just don't think people would be that willy-nilly to go off and cold-blooded murder people. And not only cold-blooded murder people, but make games out of it, make spectacles out of it, and really, honestly, delight in the fact that you're just killing people. Just flat out killing them. So I think it would be much more of a hard decision for people. And maybe that's what because if this one does well, the budget is small again, you can expect another Purge movie to come along. It can be another horror franchise, possibly. But if they do make a third one, maybe going down that avenue of a struggle in somebody's mind to purge, more so than we see here, or fighting the norm of the purge more. We get a little hint of that here, a little bit of that social commentary comes back in, people trying to fight the man on this, but exploring it on a more personal level and introspective level. But then again, maybe it won't be a horror film all that much if we go down that lane. So, if you're looking for a summer horror stop, The Purge Anarchy is not the worst of choices. It by no means is The Conjuring that we got last summer, but it's alright. It definitely builds upon the first one. It's more enjoyable than the first one, and it's a pretty fun ride. So, a soft recommendation from me for The Purge Anarchy. Well, thank you so much for watching. I love you all and appreciate your support so much. And don't forget to go ahead and subscribe down below so you can see my next video. And until then, bye-bye.